Alright, welcome back to the league race. This time we're back with TTML for round number 2, the Italian Grand Prix. You can see there, the race is wet. And I was like, no. My pace is actually okay around here. I actually did an
Oh, that's good to hear.
18.7 as a PB in practice. So, I thought my pace was fairly solid. And a wet race really kind of ruins
Right,
all of
nice
that.
jump on that one.
So, yeah, I was just holding on to see how long this rain would last, and it's basically, it looks like it's consistent the entire way through. Like it doesn't seem to be getting heavier, any lighter. It just looks like the same for the entire race. So yeah, pretty disappointed by that. But anyways, before that, there is qualifying to do. So here is the setup. I put my wings up to 9.5 for the wet conditions. I think that was okay in the end.
Happy.
And I changed the ride height because yeah, needs to do
Right.
that.
Yep.
And then the tire pressures, I initially put them down, but I actually didn't realize now you can adjust all tire
Manual
pressures
controls
within Park
maybe.
Ferme. So I'm not sure when that changed, but anyways, I initially had them down, and then for the
So,
second runs in qualifying, I turned these back
uh,
up again. So, but there's the setup. Anyways, it was really good.
oh,
Shouts to
sick.
Kevin. Anyways, I got a good banker in, which is 19.5, which put me on provisional pole. And this is my second run. It's not the greatest lap in the world. A bit of time to be found to Ascari. But, anyways, on the run up to the line, it is going to be a 19.1,
Nice, Graham.
which actually ended up being good enough for pole position in the end, which I
Yeah,
can't
just
believe
do
either.
what you have to,
And
Graham.
I was really happy with that because I
Nice
felt my
cover
pace
too,
was
behind
good
you,
here,
go on.
and I had to adjust for the weather as well. So I feel like I could have definitely got into the 18s had I had a bit, obviously I put 9.5 wing and the such. So here's the race. It's raining, but it's also dry tires.
Well,
So did not expect that to be coming. So
um,
this really ended up being like almost a continuation of sorts of the France race we just had in FTRL. So absolutely bizarre. So soft to mediums, I guess, but honestly, this was so confusing. This was such a confusing
yes,
race.
there's no way.
On the
Very
way
nice.
to the grid, um, trying to test the limits to see where the track is at. Well, there's a good indication of where it's at as I crashed into a wall. So yeah, I'm actually surprised that doesn't disqualify you from the formation lap, but apparently it's just when you clash with others. So anyways, here we go then. 5 red lights, and away we go. Slow start. I knew this was going to be tough, but I knew I was going to be very hard pressed to convert pole to victory in these conditions. So just nice and early in the break, using the Mercedes there. I get a little squeezed by Jan A there, and there's I'm a D then coming through, and then ILR Bunty then will also slip through as well. So look, I knew that this was going to be tough. My wet conditions are not my thing. So honestly, I was kind of upset that like this. I kind of bemoaned the fact this race was wet because I do think I had good pace. Breaking point here, super early, and even then, everyone misses the track. So, how are these not intermediate conditions? How is DRS not disabled? I don't understand. I really don't. It's a very confusing one. This game makes no sense. So, anyway, just tiptoeing around. For me in wet conditions, it's all about building confidence, especially on tires that are not suited to these conditions. But again, there's no DRS. We got a Red Bull we got alongside us, but I'm going to try and hold into the line here as the VSC is deployed for incident on lap one. So chance to kind of calm down a bit. And yeah, we'll kind of kick on from there. So I'm going to give you an idea of what these conditions are actually like. So here is a lap. That Mercedes was Merc, by the way. So that was the fastest lap of the race there, set by Bunty. I was only a tenth or so off, so my pace is actually good. I'm 3 seconds off now, but I have been closing that gap. That gap was about 4 seconds, but super early on the brakes. Are super early. Difficulty braking time to use that curb on the right hand side, so I kind of struggled to make that one. Very tempted to coming out of turn two. Honestly, that traction zone's a nightmare. And to get up to speed here again, it is raining. It's still raining. It's not stopped raining. It's the same intensity there the whole way. This chicane and Delaroche chicane super early on the brakes, and even then, I almost missed the corner. So, kind of show you an insight on how difficult it is to drive in these conditions. Lap 4, Mitchell sets the fastest lap of the race. This is a 29.1. That was actually the fastest lap of this race, and that never got quicker. And in my mind, I think he pitched for intermediates, did Mitchell?
On Inters.
So he was on Inters. And I'm looking at the weather report here.
20 minutes, yeah.
20 minutes of rain. It's the same rain throughout. It's consistent throughout the entire race. So like I'm thinking, do I switch on to Inters or not? Because DRS has not been disabled, by the way. It's still enabled. Merck comes into the pits for Inters. I do a lap time, and it's a 29.9, and
Boxed in.
honestly, that's not that far off. Like the Inters, like that's how close these tires are. It really is very, very close. And again, I'm improving on this lap. This is lap number 5. Other people are on Inters. I'm improving on this lap, and I'm on dries. You know, so it's absolutely impossible. As Imad must have had an incident there. I think he reset the track. Fucking ambulance. But that was a 29.6. So, you know, I'm only half a second slower so than the best Inter time. And that time was never improved upon. So, in my mind, I'm thinking, right, well, I'm still on the right tire then. I'm not wasting a pit stop to come in. And Jeff suggested, he said mediums there, suggested mediums, not intermediates. So, Jeff, the entire race is like, we don't know what the right tire is. And it's all about your gut. And my gut was saying, I'm going to keep this track position as Janley comes into the pits. I think he ended up coming in for a set of, I'm actually not sure where he comes in. I think he came in for Inters. So, yeah, he boxes. We move up to second. Bunty is not that far ahead. So we have caught up time here to these guys, to the race leaders. So I'm growing more and more confident on these tires in these conditions. I know where my braking points are now. Lap number 8. You can see we're within DRS and using DRS on Bunty, and the safety car is deployed. So I'm thinking, right, well, what's the situation here? Do I go on to Inters or mediums to go to the end of the race? Inters, I don't think would have gone to the end of the race, but I know mediums will. And again, I don't feel like, I think the conditions are just as much dry as they are wet. I'm like, well, I'm going to try and get to the end here. So I'm coming in and I'm boxing for mediums. The track, I don't think, really favoured the intermediates at this time. So, and really, as it turned out, you had to nail your colours to the mast here. If you're going on to Inters, this was the time to do it. If you were going on mediums like I and others did, again, it was a very split decision all across the grid. Some people on Inters, some people on soft or on dry tires still. It was very, very difficult to call. I decided to stay on the dry tires. I wanted to keep track position. I wanted to make sure I didn't have to stop again in this race. The rain was not going to get any heavier. It was consistent throughout the entire way. I don't understand how DRS is not disabled. I understand, but you know, if it was, maybe I would have paid for Inters, but it wasn't, so I didn't. Anyway, safety car restart. These mediums were tough to get to temperature. Not so much on this occasion, but just every other time after this. It was really difficult to get these up to temperature. But we're in third. Merck gained some ground on us when he pitched for Inters, so he got that done. He's in first. Bunty's on softs. I'm a D on mediums like me, and Joe, my teammate, is on Inter. So split decisions, but we are racing again. A little bit slow on the restart there. You have to be so careful on dry tires. You really do. These restarts favoured the intermediate runners a lot more. Plus, if you're brave on the throttle, I'm a D's on medium, so I have no excuse here. So early braking. I did make contact with him, but I made sure not to overtake him or to try and gain an advantage from that. So, but honestly, stopping in these conditions was very difficult, especially with cold tires, cold brakes after a safety car restart. I cannot begin to explain how difficult this race was to manage, to drive, to manage all of those temperatures and braking zones and cars side by side. So you got early on braking for the Stel Roche chicane, and we make it just about. So, anyways, Gianni slipped through a fair punishment for making contact with Imad. Thankfully, Imad didn't go round. So we got Joe, my teammate, on Inter's behind. He's got a penalty though. So this entire first lap is just feeling the way through the conditions, which, again, probably the intermediates gone better from restarts than those on mediums. But I really believed once we got up to speeds, and like it's the same with the soft stint, once we got up to speed, I felt like the dry tires were, I think, better race tires. But for restarting and the such, I think the Inters were better. So, but I really think that's the split. Like, it really is. You see there, Maximus and Turnip there on medium. So, again, a lot of split decisions and indecisions. Bunty, is that Bunty's round? Yes, Bunty goes round. I think he collided with Merck trying to go for a move. So that was Bunty on softs going for a move on Merck on Inter. So again, this shows you where we're at. Another safety car is deployed though. And here's the thing: if you didn't pit the first time for Inters, like I can't come in now for Inters. It's first of all, I don't think it wouldn't make sense for me because it doesn't. I would lose all that tracked position basically,
Medium
and
is going to
I just yeah, I would have missed my opportunity to do so. Under said safety car though, again trying to warm the tires. Jane goes off the track, loses it, goes into the gravel there, so that's a position gain. So I'm a D now leads this race, and Jane was on Inter, so I was hoping perhaps Jane could take the fight to I'm a D on the restart on his Inters because they're definitely the best restart tire, I'd say. And it was so hard to get these. Like I was weaving to get the entire safety car period, and look at my tires, man. They're just still cold. My brakes are going to be cold from this long ass straight. So, you know, it's going to be tough. We got Turnip, we got Maximus, and Storm on the Inters behind. So, yeah, I'm honestly glad I prioritized track position because if I hadn't, I think I would have been in big trouble. So, anyways, I'm a D then, getting ready to restart. And it's up to me to try and respond to him this time. He got me last time. Hopefully I can maybe get him this time. But off he goes. Good restart from him, to be fair. Again, just getting their foot down the throttle on that restart there is so difficult to judge properly, to really nail without spinning out. But here comes Turnip on the left-hand side. Nice and early on the brakes. If he gets me, he gets me. I thought I was going to miss the corner. And he did to an extent, so able to take that place back, leave the space on the inside, which almost screwed me on the exit here. So, but super conservative on this exit of turn 2, and we've got the Red Bull on the left-hand side. So, how much do you dare leave your foot on the full throttle and your ERS? Serious bravery required here, honestly. Like it's instinct just takes over. Like it really is. And I make the chicane, and thankfully everyone else did too. So, good start for Imad. He got himself a very good lead there. I'm happy to survive as it is. So get these meters up to temperature, because I do believe once we get these up to temperature, I do believe there are a good race tire in these conditions versus the intermediates. It's still that close. DRS has not been disabled. Now it has been for the safety car restart, but that's normal. Once 2 or so laps pass, it's going to be re-enabled again. So it was never disabled in this race, never. So. And we still got Turnip behind. Storm now behind on his Inters, so he got a good run. So again, I still think on startup these Inters were much better than these mediums. I really thought as the race would go on that for some reason I'm not sure why he backed off there. Well, that was a very strange one. Unless he wanted DRS, but DRS is not enabled for the first 2 laps after a safety car restart. So a very strange one there. But I'm not sure what I could really do to really prevent the overtake here, but just as it happens, he overtakes me, and another safety car is deployed. So I'm really frustrated because I'm thinking these mediums I think are good enough to compete here, but we just can't get. As soon as we get any temperature on them, that's it. Like another safety car is deployed. So safety car coming in on the end of this lap. So it's Storm on his Inters there against Imad. So Storm's in a good place here. I got Turnip and I got Scuba Steve behind an AlphaTauri and the Red Bull. But here goes the restart. Better one this time. I can get into the slipstream of Storm this time as well. So constantly looking back though, and decide to go for the racing line. Defend a little bit, but move back to the racing line. This is Turnip. Yeah, he just goes a bit deep. I leave the space, which is horrible in these conditions. So really compromising yourself. Back end one to get away the whole time. So now I've got, again, back end really getting away. I've got Scuba Steve on Inters on my left. I've got Turnip right behind me too. I'm just trying to hold it. You see, I'm trying to fight for control of this car. And under braking, those Inters are going to be much better. And Bunty, and then Scuba Steve goes extra deep. Bunty just about makes the corner, so he was much more confident on the brakes there. So get that place back from Scuba Steve, but Bunty will go through. So, I mean, fair play. I mean, again, serious respect driving in these conditions. Like for anyone making up places, it's super tough. Lap number 22. Again, this is how far we are. We spent most of this race under safety car. Got intermediate runners behind in Jane and Scuba Steve, but we're keeping up pace with these guys in front here, and then boom, there goes Storm. Storm crashes. He's out of this race. So he was on Inters as well. That's the thing, you see. And the VSC was deployed, but this was quickly promoted to a full safety car, our 4th safety car of this race. So again, just as like my right front isn't even up to full temperature yet, but once again we're under safety car. So again, I feel like I've got the pace here, but I just haven't been able to do anything with it. Now I think at this point the intermediate became the better tire. I think at this point it did. Imad actually has an accident that goes off, but I got done for legal overtake there. So I really thought like that's bullshit. Like that's fair game. You know, he had a crash, and I had much superior momentum coming by him. I think that's a bullshit one to have to give back. But anyways, I did. So, but I think he has got wing damage. So Bunty's going to get the restart here. I know I have to get past Imad quickly here because I'm fairly sure he's got damage. The tires are a little better to warm this time around, but not that great. So, anyways, medium in front, intermediates behind. Nice and easy into turn 1 and out of turn 2. I know Imad has got damage, and I need to get by him quickly. It's pass or be passed here because if I don't, these inters are going to swarm me. And first one on the left hand, Scuba Steve again trying to look around the outside of Curva Grande. I am trying hard, but once he's ahead here, he's going to be so much better on the brake. So nice and early, just make the corner. He comes into my line a little bit there, I thought, but anyways, he gets through. Back end really wanted to get away there, really get away. So then Jane then coming on his intermediates, then he's going to try and slip through. He's going to take that place. Now Joe's behind on soft. Now Joe's had a tumultuous race to say the least, but I tried to go through the inside Imad here because I knew he had damage. I need to get this done. I couldn't. Back end wanted to get away from me, trying to drag race. There goes Joe. At the Scopo then almost getting by me as well. I'm just getting swamped. So I was like, I have to keep this position at the Scopo. I have to. So bravery down the inside, feeling out these conditions. Imad goes wide, his damage. I think he clips Joe, who goes across the track there. So we do gain a few positions. We defended critically against Atlas Scopo. So that instance from Imad kind of creates some bother there. But anyways, we'll get by Joe, who basically lets me go. So appreciate that. I do think my pace is good, but the top 3 now have pissed away. I can't really catch up to that. So, but yeah, Inters were the best tire probably at the end of this race. But I was better off doing what I did, which was stay out during that 4th safety car. Because again, if you didn't pit at the 1st safety car, that was it. Basically, you were done. We spent so much of this race under safety cars, ridiculous. We never got a proper rhythm established. Anyways, lap 27, Scuba Steve bins it, heading out of the final corner, and we're going to take a podium place at the death. It's P3. It ended up being P2 after Jane was given the post-race penalty for taking out or coming together with Merck. So he could have easily won this race as well. It kind of worked like that. So yeah, P2 in the end. Honestly, I've been league racing for over 4 years. That was the strangest, most bizarre race I've ever had with those conditions. I've raced before in conditions that were, it was wet, but dry tires were the best. Heck, even France the other day, it should have been intermediate conditions, but it wasn't somehow. And again, today, I feel like it should have been intermediate conditions, but it wasn't. So, yeah. Bunty had a penalty. I wish I just couldn't keep up in the end with that. So, yeah. Disappointed not to convert pole to victory, but I felt like in the dry I could have. I think in the dry I could have converted pole to victory, but yeah, honestly, happy to survive that. Happy with the choices I made. I think track position was the thing that caught me in the end. If I had sacrificed track position, I would have been in amongst that pack, and it would have been disastrous, I think. So I think I made the right decisions. Just the wet conditions, I just don't really agree with, for me anyways. Here are the standings. We're actually 3rd after that, so 7 points behind Bunty. Imad just in front there as well. So good start to the season. A nice little buffer as well to like Atlascopo and Turnip and Mitchell and that kind of thing. Jane down there in 9th after his penalty. So yeah, good early start to the season. Happy to, again, Bahrain was a nice recovery drive, so happy to get some points there. This is the constructors. Aston Martin only a few points off of Haas there for the top of the standings, and that's with Joe missing the first race in Bahrain. If he was there at first race, we could have been top there, but not to be. Still plenty of time. So yeah, it's been going well. Again, I wish Italy got a little bit better. It could have been better, but look, ultimately to survive, I think was the big thing. So and we did that, and I really, got through it, because I can't tell you how difficult it was to race in those conditions on those tires. Really hard. So fair play for everyone to getting through that one. That was honestly really tough. Next up on the calendar, I believe, is Spain. So that should be fun. I believe it's also this coming week's FTRL track too. So double header at Spain. I like driving that track. Hopefully it goes well. So yeah, until next time.